This video is how to claim a graduate student on parents' taxes. My name is Dr. Jocelyn Stewart. I am the Resourceful Professor, and this channel and my website is about sharing resources to support future and current graduate, doctorate, and professional students, and those who have earned their degrees. As a disclaimer, I am not a tax professional, and this video is not meant to replace advice from a tax professional. I encourage you to seek out the assistance of a tax professional if you need help. Congratulations! Your child is going off to graduate school. And as a parent, you may have been claiming your child as a dependent and wondering if your child is still considered a dependent. Your child could be eligible to be claimed as a dependent on your tax returns, even if your child is enrolled in graduate school. So this video will describe the dependency rules defined by the IRS to determine if this is an option to reduce your tax liability. The easiest way to start is looking at what the IRS considers to be a dependent. So they have to be less than 24 years of age, so can't be older than 23. That's the oldest you can be. They have to be a full-time graduate student for at least 5 months. That's at least a spring semester or a fall semester. They cannot be considered an independent person on their own. And an independent person is that they're claiming themselves as their own person, they're claiming themselves on their taxes, they're married, they have a child or somebody else that's a dependent on them, or they're a veteran or active duty in the military. In addition, you must have contributed more than half of the child support if the student is not an independent student. So yes, most parents are giving out money to support their graduate students as they go through this journey. If that's you and you're giving them more than 50% of support, they could be considered dependent on your taxes. Another requirement is that they have had to have lived with you more than 50% of the time in order to claim them as a dependent. So what if they live in a dorm or off-campus apartment? Because they are living in a dorm or off-campus apartment away from your home for educational purposes, they are still considered to be living with you even if they're not in your home. So it's perfectly fine that they live in a dorm or even an off-campus apartment if they are living there for the purposes of being in school. Now this next one could be a very good way of helping to offset the cost of education, especially with the housing. You know that dorms are very expensive and housing off-campus apartments are very expensive. Your child can live with somebody else as a qualifying relative. And the qualifying relative are things like a child, a sibling, a parent, or grandparent, or even somebody else that's not related to them that meets certain requirements. And you can use this as an incentive to try to get somebody to encourage them to maybe have your child live with them, to say, hey, if you allow my child to live with you, you can claim them on your taxes. What if your child is working a part-time job? Now this gets a little bit more complicated, but it still resolves into the basic, are you giving more than half of their support to them? And there are some income restrictions if they're not a dependent child, but if they're a qualifying relative status. So overall, you still can claim your child as a dependent, especially if they're under the age of 24. Please check out my website for the full article, and I'll link it in the description so you can get a better understanding of some other things that you might want to consider when looking at whether or not your child is considered to be a dependent for your taxes. If you like this video, I would appreciate if you give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel. Again, check out my website if you'd like more information, some assistance, a free consultation if you're considering you and or your child is considering going off to graduate school. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time. Bye-bye.